How do you craft your story and share that in a way that can set you apart from others?
The best way to share your story is to understand that nobody cares that you're a dog trainer. Nobody cares what the name of your dog training business is. They only care why you train dogs. So again, ask yourself, why do you want to train dogs? Once you know why you want to train dogs, I think then it's just a matter of figuring out what excites you about training dogs. So it's not necessarily I rescued a dog and I felt a certain way about it. It's something about that ultimately created a sense of action from you. And then what about that action excites you, right? It's like, what first got me to want to read the 10X book? Why do I actually try to 10X my life and my actions? And it's like I think there's understanding that your why isn't just, I grew up with dogs. Your why isn't, I rescued a dog and I saw how sad they live and I wanted to help some. Because you're only going to train 100 to 500 dogs max a year if you're like really, really good at what you do. And that's not doing much in terms of actually making a difference. So for me, a lot of the people who go, I'm so emotional, I just feel so bad for all these dogs, that's why I love using treats and I'll never correct a dog or tell it no, you're not even making a difference. You train 20 to 30 dogs a year, you're feeding them with treats, you're actually making them obese and unhealthy, so your why is bullshit. So for me, it's like last week I said check yourself because you will wreck yourself. For me, it's like the concept of like find your why. It's like whatever your first answer is probably bullshit. You know, like write down 10 things that you like about dog training, and by the time you get to the 10th one, you'll be like, okay, like I think I'm like figuring myself out a little bit. But the people who focus on spiritual awakenings and all this, it doesn't happen overnight. Like they're still doing it. Between you and me, we know a lot of people who are on the life journey, and they're still on the journey. I haven't met a single person. I'm going to use JP Sears, Awaken with JP, one of the most spiritually woke people. He's blown up. Guess what? He's not retired. He didn't finish his journey. He's still on the journey. He's still figuring it out. So your why is going to change, right? My why when I first started is different than my why now. Matthew McConaughey gave a speech and he said, who's your hero? And he said, me in 10 years. But when I'm that person in 10 years, my dream and my hero is going to be me 10 years from now, because I'm always chasing after my dreams. I'm always chasing after that better version of myself. So it's always going to change. So here's the truth. I don't think it matters what your story is. I don't think it matters like what bullshit you want to tell yourself that makes you feel justified that you're a dog trainer and why you care more than the next person. There's like 30 to 40 dog trainers in Orange County, and I'm willing to bet they care just as much as I do. Do they work as hard as I do? No. I don't think there's a single dog trainer that works as hard as I do, especially in California. I'm being modest because I could probably go with like 60% of the United States. If I'm in the 1% of dog trainers, well then I guess 99% aren't working as hard as I am. So that's the answer to that. But is that my why? Why I work so hard? Why my work ethic is like that? No. So I think it's really this dynamic of like, you have to have a strong why that keeps you in the game. Why did I get up in the morning? Why am I still a dog trainer? Why, after realizing that training 500 dogs a year, thinking I'm something special, and I eventually figured out that 2 million get destroyed every year and gassed like Holocaust victims every single year in the US. I mean, we do some horrible things. The epidemic with rescue and shelter dogs is horrible. So yeah, I mean, it's you do have to find your why. But I personally believe that's not as important as just being yourself. I think people relate to me a lot, especially my clients, because I'm who I am. I'm personable, I'm funny, I'm entertaining, I'm educational, I'm very bottom line, and I have no problem telling you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. So by being myself, I've been authentic the whole time, and my story has gone hand in hand parallel with that. And I think that's how you tell your story, is by working hard, is by training dogs, is by putting in that effort. And then I think accidentally your story's going to come out because people ask you. Too many people are confused. They think, what's your story? I need to know your story before I can do business with you. I don't go into any of my consultations and tell them, so my story, and then expect a sale. I expect to hear your story. And then if you're interested in wanting to know more about me, you'll say, so what's your story? What's your story after all? That's the expression. Hey, you, what's your story? I just watched Donnie Brasco, Al Pacino, Johnny Depp. It's the mafia movie where he goes, that's a fugazi. What are you talking about? It's fugazi. It's a fugazi. It's fugazi. Forget about it. So you got Al Pacino, you got Donnie Brasco, and the movie starts off. After a bunch of photo montages to let you know it's a real movie, they're in a diner, and Al Pacino is going, forget about it. A Cadillac is better than a Lincoln. It's got more power. It's got more legroom. It's got more power. And the guy goes, you just said that. You just said that it's got more power. What do you think? He goes, huh? What are you talking about? He goes, Cadillac's better than a Lincoln. What are you talking about? And they see Donnie Brasco at the bar by himself. He's been there every day, drinking his little drinks while they're talking about more power. Eventually, Al Pacino goes over and he goes, hey, tell me your story. What's going on? What's your deal anyway? Somebody should ask about your story. You shouldn't have to tell it. So I think that's one of the problems with all these marketing concepts right now is everyone's going, you gotta tell your story. People want to know your story. Start with your story. Nobody gives a fuck about your story. They care about their own story. And if you can make your story about helping their story improve, now you're talking. And that's what I do best.